It's time.
Let's do it!
Hey guys! Welcome back to Rowdy with the Boys. YouTube's cutest, best buds.
My baby. I'm Trenton.
I'm Julian.
And we the boys.
Yeah, we are.
We review music, movies, and...
Anime.
Yeah. Anime!
Today's our first anime review. Make sure you check it out. So, right off the bat, let's just go ahead and say, if you're not our age, like 21, 23, might not have heard of this one.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was kind of old, like, when we were kids. But, god damn, is it good.
Like, midway through, and really more close to the end, it seriously ramps up and turns into something I was not expecting at all.
Now, we're not going to be doing any spoilers.
Yeah.
So, let's just break it down without ruining it for you guys. The story takes place 40 years after a mysterious occurrence that causes the residents of Paradigm City to lose their memories. The series follows the main character Roger Smith, Paradigm City's top negotiator, basically anime's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. And also, I just want to point out that he is voiced by the same voice actor, the very same who did one of my favorite anime characters of all time, Spike, from Cowboy Bebop. And whenever I heard his voice, I was so pumped.
Roger Smith does the Paradigm City a grand old job at being the top negotiator. Meanwhile, also accompanied by an android named R. Dorothy Wainwright,
A.K.A. my bae.
You're a louse.
and Roger's butler, Norman Berg. Norman's the man, by the way. Now, as far as butlers go, this guy kicks some ass.
Yeah. Yeah, you said this before, but Roger is essentially anime's Bruce Wayne, if you will.
Yeah.
And Norman is definitely the Alfred, except he actually kicks a lot of ass.
Yeah, he makes Alfred look like a punk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alf.
Yeah. As far as the characters go, I mean, there's more characters. I love Dorothy. She's so snappy. She always calls Roger a
louse.
A louse. She always calls him a louse, and every time she does it, it just makes my heart smile. And then I also love Norman. Norman's just cool as fuck, and I wish I had his mustache.
Yeah, Norman's the man. Well, I guess as far as characters go, my two favorite characters in the entire series are probably Schwarzwald, originally named Michael Zabak, and he ends up being the rival of Roger Smith. That dude's off the charts crazy.
I have released the lock, and for my trouble, this is what's become of me. It's a shame now, isn't it, that you didn't end up the same way?
And then we also have Colonel of the Military Police, Dan Dawson, whose two top lines are, "What?" and "The Black Megadoose." Really never gets old,
Yeah.
even after hearing it a million times.
Yeah. And I also want to add that I just can't not say it. The main character, Roger, like, I love him too. And mainly, it's just the way his story unravels as the series goes on. Because whenever it starts out, I was honestly having a hard time staying awake through it.
What'd you say? What?
Not because it was bad. It's just like the old style animation just reminds me when I was a kid. It makes me feel like a little baby, and I just wrap myself up like a little burrito, and I pass out. And for the first half of this series, it's really just a bunch of robots fighting. For the most part, you know, like, there's little mysteries here and there, but for the most part, it's just robots duking it out, and so, like, it was just easy to fall asleep to. But at a certain point, the show just gets elevated to something totally different. By the end of it, I was mind-fucked, and Roger's journey, like, of uncovering all the memories and the mystery of what happens in the city is just so compelling. But I also really love Dorothy's backstory, which is why she's still one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, it does definitely start out like Gundam without the flying and shit, but It is really interesting. It's really nice to have Roger narrate like what's going on as it's happening in that particular setting. I normally don't like a narration type like that, and it really it all just comes together well. It fits. And
yeah. Speaking of things that flow really well, I want to talk about the score, because the score for this show, for the most part, is really, really good. There's one song in particular, Apologize, and him and I both have it downloaded on our phones, and it plays behind a lot of stuff. Like, I just love that song, and a lot of the score for the show is really good. Aside from the fucking intro, which is atrocious. I hate that intro, and it lasts so long. It's like the never-ending intro.
It's so bad, the intro. It's just like a bunch of obscure noises, and then Big O, like for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
It's goofy as hell.
Yeah.
The outro is not too great either. It's not that it's a bad song. It's just like oddly placed.
Yeah, it feels like the intro and the outro just don't mesh well with the actual score that takes place inside the show.
It really is crazy just how perfect each song in this score just sets the mood.
I also want to talk about another character who I will not name, but at first, whenever the character's introduced, and for the first several episodes that the character's in, they don't seem that essential to the plot, and as it goes on, it turns out that they are, and it was such a mindfuck for me. Honestly, this whole show was a mindfuck, and I had actually a pretty difficult time following it at a certain point. I kept having to pause it and have him explain it to me, because I had never watched it all before. I had only seen a few clips of it when I was a kid on Toonami. The good old days. Overall, from the score to the characters, the character development, the way it's drawn, the animation in general just reminds me, takes me back. I give this show a 2 thumbs up, hands down. Very good. Such a surprise for me.
2 thumbs up, definitely.
Yeah.
Guys, lovelies, this has been our review, our first anime review on The Big O. Now, if you're thinking about checking this out, you definitely should.
Yeah.
Please be patient with it. It's not going to be all that you think it's going to be like in the beginning. It gets way crazier, just amps up to the max. I promise you.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it. So, being that this has been our first anime review, if you got an anime that you'd like to see us review, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to get rowdy with the boys. Alright, bye.
Bye.
It's showtime!